Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday introduction to LifeWave and X39 with our special doctor guest, Dr. Tom Acklin, this evening. My name is Robin Blank Mascari. I'm your host and excited to share this wonderful call with you from Mexico. We have discovered that people in Mexico love LifeWave too, which is really, really wonderful. We actually have people from several countries around the world here this evening. And what we do on these calls is we do a brief introduction to the company and the technology. We keep a focus on the star of the show, which is X39. This is a great call for brand new people. So if you're brand new and just learning about LifeWave, a warm, warm, warm welcome. And then after that, we bring on our special guest, Dr. Tom, and he's going to talk a little bit deeper about the X39 product and the technology and how amazing it is integrated into his practice and life. And then we turn things over to you, and it's your chance to share your stories. We love to hear your stories. So raise your hand if you have a story. If you have a question, put that in the chat. And please remember that we are here as a natural products company and we don't treat, diagnose, or cure any diseases. And we ask if you are asking questions or sharing a story, please mention symptoms only. And then we stay nice and clean and compliant. So let's turn things over to my partner, who's going to give a wonderful introduction to the LifeWave story, the history of the company, our founder and inventor, David Schmidt, and a little bit about the technology.
Okay, awesome. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. And so I'm just going to jump right in. This is Gregory Mascari, and as Robin said, we're down here in Mexico, our final day here working with our team that's emerging out of the Playa del Carmen area. But we're really excited to open this up, and this call is intended for guests and existing distributors to just learn more about who we are and what we do. So I'll start by just saying I finally figured out what I want to be when I get older, younger. I'm going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary of my 39th birthday in a couple of months. And that's enough for me. I want to freeze or start turning back the clock. And with LifeWave, we can do that. So welcome to the stem cell revolution. And certainly everyone wants to look, feel, perform, heal, and live younger. And certainly stem cells are the key because they're a vital part of our immune system that repairs and regenerates damaged cells. And so the problem is that the older we get, the fewer stem cells we have, and consequently, by age 60, only a small percentage remain. And sadly, the fewer stem cells we have, the faster we age and the slower we heal. Well, what about stem cell injections? Because they're getting very popular, but you know what? They're very expensive, they're painful, risky, controversial, and you know, there's no guaranteed result. You can spend thousands of dollars on stem cell injections and maybe be happy, maybe not. Well, here's the good news. What if I told you you can look, feel, perform, heal, and live younger with a historic breakthrough in stem cell technology? It's a new wearable technology in patch form. It's affordable, it's safe, it's non-invasive, it's non-drug. It's a patented form of phototherapy, and it uses specific frequencies of light to increase and improve cell activity. This is the brainchild of our founder and CEO, David Schmidt, who's not only a brilliant scientist and researcher, David's also a genius inventor with over 100 patents and patent pendings. He's been on the leading edge of phototherapy research and science for over 20 years, and he's already conducted over 90 clinical studies proving the efficacy of LifeWave phototherapy products. And there are many more in the works. So LifeWave is a 16-year-old advanced technology company founded back in 2004 based on an energy enhancing technology that David developed under a contract for the US government and Navy SEALs to increase their strength, their stamina, and performance without the need for drugs, stimulants, or caffeine. The product turned out to be so effective, it's now used by world-class athletes around the world in almost every sport. And as a result, the company has grown wonderfully. We have corporate headquarters and laboratories manufacturing in California and Ireland. We have a new corporate office also in Utah. We now have global distribution to 75 plus countries from our 14 global distribution centers. So real briefly, let me just touch on how this amazing technology works. And again, it's based on a type of light therapy called photobiomodulation. And LifeWave patches contain very specific combinations of organic materials and nanocrystals that when applied or near your body, they're activated by our body heat, and they then begin to emit very specific wavelengths of light, which stimulate targeted and beneficial biochemical responses in the body. This is known as photobiomodulation, and it is the basis of our LifeWave phototherapy patches. And certainly it's been a well-recognized and proven scientific principle that specific frequencies of light can cause specific changes within the body. For example, when you go out in the sun, a very specific frequency of light causes your body to make vitamin D. We don't get a download from the sun. Another frequency of light causes our body to make melanin, the chemical that gives us a suntan. Well, LifeWave's patented technology is based on the same rock solid scientific principle. I'm happy to say that for the last 11 years, the focus has been in the field of anti-aging and regenerative science. And in January of 2019, just a little over 2 years ago, we released to the global market the LifeWave X39 stem cell activation patch. And this truly is a historic and affordable breakthrough in stem cell technology, and some are actually calling it the holy grail of anti-aging and restorative science, because we're doing what the multi-billion-dollar companies and big pharma have not been able to do, and that's activate a very specific copper peptide that activates our stem cells while also altering gene expression towards a younger and more vibrant you. And yes, we have patents. Yes, we have clinical studies, and we have tremendous field results that X39 is actually turning back our biological clock, helping us to look, feel, perform, heal, and live younger. And for us baby boomers, this is very exciting news. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Robin, and our good friend, Dr. Tom.
Well, thank you, Gregory.
Echo up here.
Okay, are we? Okay, I think we're working here. Yay, new environment. And I love watching that presentation. It's so succinct, and it gives you a sense of truly what we have is historic, and our timing with this company is amazing. Every day we wake up and we hear miracle stories, and it's just a gift to be able to share. So this evening, our special guest is Dr. Tom Acklin. He comes to us as what he calls a recovering neurologist. He is an MD. He did teach at Georgetown. He's got quite a background, but these days he's really, really involved in a healthy microbiome and the brain-gut connection, and has found LifeWave through a trusted source. And it is, he teaches yoga. I think he owns a collection of yoga studios even, and really talks about food as medicine, and is a brilliant man that we are gifted to have in our community and continue to learn from, and joyful as all get out. Dr. Tom, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Robin. I'm sorry, I don't have a suntan and an echo from my partner in the next room in Mexico.
Yeah, oh, darn. Oh, darn.
Oh, darn.
And this is the first time we get to be together after meeting in person.
Well, thank you for doing what you do and taking time and sharing this message, even when you're on vacation, technically.
Well, it's technically a business trip, but we're in Mexico, and ever since I've been here, I've been smiling. So people are very happy down here, and we had a full room of people doing training today, and some wonderful people to our community. So let's jump in. As a doctor, you got introduced by a trusted friend to this technology. What got you interested in this?
Yeah, it was trusting a friend, really. If Anne hadn't called, I've known her personally and professionally for a decade. We've traded patients. I know her work. I respected her scientific integrity, her as a practitioner. I love who she is as a person. And she said, take a look. And I said, no, I'm busy. I can't right now, right? It was a busy time. Last year was a busy year. for folks interested in immune competence. Yeah, and that's my world. I come from autoimmune background and work with a lot of immune competence. And thankfully, she was quite excited. Right. I won't even call it persistent because it's a lifestyle practice. This is a lifestyle business and it's a warm market business and people see us look great. I mean, you look fantastic, right? Who watching this video wouldn't say, whatever that lady's doing, I want some, right? And she sounded great. She sounded great. We were all going through hard times and, we had talked. She said, just take a look, see what you think. Luckily, I was very generously gifted some of the patches, some of the X39, and I put them on my body. And it's an experience. This is, folks want to feel better. I was thinking this morning about how the doc tells you're better, and we're supposed to believe that. Most people leave the doc's office when the doc says, you're okay, you're good. But they leave and they're not real pleased, right? So this is an experience. This is something you can feel. And we can measure it, which is fantastic. And the science is incredibly deep and elegant. Once I looked at it, I was stunned. So it can be measurable, but the import of it, I think, is the experience. And that's what happened to me. I put it on. I'm an athlete. I was in pretty decent shape. I wasn't 15 years ago, in my mid 40s, I was an old looking doc. And but these days, having done different things with my life, I'm a happy guy. Truthfully, I didn't expect to see very much. And all of a sudden I had nice stamina. I was strong. I was even stronger in my athletic work. Started dreaming a little bit more deeply and interestingly. That's not something everybody wants to do, but a different level of alertness, and like I said, it was a busy time and it was a busy year. I realized, I'm going through 18-hour days and feeling pretty good. And kind of the way you said, it's you're on a business trip. What if we could all be in a place where we're in the sweet spot of what we love to do and have it feel like fun, right? And a lot of folks wouldn't look at my calendar and say that's fun, but it is these days. And I have been just stunned. So that progressed. I've only been on the patches for about 6 months now. And but my first experience was enough to have me look at the science. And again, I wish I had done that first, but it takes what it takes. And after about 2 weeks of wondering, okay, this can't be the patch. Okay, this can't be the patch. Okay, this can't be the patch. What else? And I ruled out everything else. Right. And then I got to the point where I thought, okay, I'll look at the website. I'll look. And then I did. And we'll probably end up talking about that very deeply tonight.
Okay, well, we're so glad to have you, and we're glad you had an experience. And you said something really important for those people that want to approach a healthcare practitioner. Coming from a trusted friend is key. Going to, cold calls on practitioners is not a good use of anybody's time because typically they get barraged with so many people. But if you have a trusted relationship, which Tom did have with Anne, it makes a huge difference. So stem cells are a word that goes around. People hear it. Some people understand it. Most people don't. Could you briefly explain what they are and why this is important? Because we have a historic breakthrough because it activates our own younger stem cells with light. Why is this important?
Yeah, it's really stunning. I mean, scientists have been chasing this for a long time, and practitioners, the whole history of healer, and we can't say we can heal or claim any disease state, that sort of thing. But in the history of caretakers and practitioners over the course of human events, people have been looking for a regenerative capacity, right? How do you bring the body back to center, whether it be from injury, whether it be just from normal damage, whether it be from toxin or poison, et cetera, a normal healthy body comes back to center. And when we're young, you can think about, everybody think about a time when they just bounced back from an injury, right? When was the last time you felt really great and you knew that the accidental cut on your arm wasn't going to be a big deal, or you knew that workout wasn't going to be a big deal, or you knew the extra long day wasn't going to be a big deal, like that. Stem cells are the regenerative capacity, and they're the omnipotential regenerative capacity of the body, right? Omni is all of it. Potential is, hey, as we have committed stem cells, my hair cells, my skin, it's like that, we have what we call committed lines, and they get more specialized, and then we have tongue cells, and we have pancreas cells, and like that, different kinds of blood cells. And so the stem cell has always been a little bit of a mystery. And then decades ago, they realized, just like any organ transplant, you could actually take them from a healthy person that has plenty and put them back in. As Gregory very brilliantly pointed out, I agree, that was a beautiful high density. I don't know what he did in felt like 6 minutes there, but that was awesome. Everybody's been chasing this, right? And so when I heard the word, I got to tell you, it's a little bit controversial, but to have a non-drug intervention and to have a non-cellular intervention and to actually have a technology, a wearable technology that is akin to a stem cell transplant, right? That is breakthrough.
It's very exciting. So what you're saying is when we're young, we have lots of them, and they're busy helping our body do what our body does best, is come back to homeostasis and operate in balance. And when we get older, things change a little bit. We don't have so many. So to have this breakthrough that activates your own stem cells with light and is affordable is truly exciting and historic.
It really is. And it's, we talk a lot about structure and function. Yeah. And it's one thing to have the cells themselves or the physical tissue, the physical body tissue itself. And the question is, does it have the energy to go forward? And X39 works on so many different levels. It really, we're fond of looking at the research. And for the geeky scientists like me, if you want to look deeply, go to the website, lifewave.com, all over the world. And the product line is different in different parts of the world, but the science is there. You can go to products, lifewave.com, go to products, go to the science. I don't know that I've ever seen as impressive a collection of white papers and clinical trials and patent applications, all right there. Stunning work.
I love it. And I love learning from you because you're uncovering some other dimensions of things. And we won't get into that so much tonight, but so stem cells are really an important part of us keeping youthful, feeling good. This little product, let's see if I can find mine. There we go. There it is. It looks like a little Band-Aid, and it's about the size of a quarter, and we put it on our body. So what else do we need to know for this thing to work and for us to get the maximum benefit from it?
There was a question in the chat about, is it active in a clothing pocket? So anywhere, the answer is yes, it is. If you put it in your pocket, it's activated. So this is a technology that's structured with nanocrystals. There's nothing actually in the patch that goes into the body. It's not a transdermal. Interestingly, the patent application, which I was reading a couple of weeks ago, does indicate both transdermal and, how do they phrase it? I wrote it down. May include a transdermal container that releases or increases copper peptide. So that's in the patent, but that's not what we do yet. It is possible. And I heard David speaking last week when he was talking with Dr. Melinda, brilliant. And he said he was just overwhelmed because he has been working in photobiomodulatory therapeutics for decades, right? He does a lot of this and he knows energy work and he knows energy integration. And he thought it was going to have to be a device that was going to have to stimulate stem cells. And he himself was stunned by what happened with the non-transdermal, right? So what people need to know is, I actually like to hold it. I'm always very careful with mine. When I open up the sleeve and I hold it to activate it, it's activated by the heat of the body. And we say heat, it's really the infrared field of the body, which is a kind of thermography, right? So if you put it on the body, it's a total body activation. We do have suggested placements because that's where the clinical trials were done. And so when we suggest that it goes in a particular place, it is correlated with meridians, which are the energy flow in the body. But it's a total body activation, and it really can be anywhere. In fact, holding it right now, it's active.
Well, so it does a lot of things, and there are some, I love the way you said that there's suggested locations, and those are the locations that we did the clinicals on, and the company only claims what we have clinical proof for. But when we hear stories, we hear just about anything and everything. It's like we call it the Believe It or Not show. So it does many things. The company doesn't claim all those things, but it does many more things than we even talk about sometimes. So what else do we need to pay attention to? How long do we wear it? And is there anything we need to supplement or take with it to make sure it's effective?
Any technology is more effective if you can stop the thing that caused the problem in the first place, right? So whatever it is that had you say, yes, I want to feel better. I do a lot of lifestyle intervention, right? As a functional medicine practitioner, I help people identify the places that are not working. So I'm a guy who talks about a widely varied natural diet, and I do food as medicine rebuild for gut health, to rebuild microbiome and rebuild the brain, but really to rebuild any tissue. And a lot of that is, it's almost mandatory to supplement these days. So I'm a big fan of supplements. They certainly work better. You put the patch on, you put these technologies on. One of the things I do when I work with patients and clients is these changes take some time. I want to be real straight with folks and say realistically, it's 6 months to a year. If you want to get back to where you were a decade ago, right? If you want the body, and most people can't even get there, right? We're really playing with the idea of, can you get back to where you were last week? And once people see the regenerative capacity, then all of a sudden that other conversation's available. Okay, now that you've learned how to grow younger and grow stronger and be better and handle stress better, would you like to go back and be even younger, right? So all of that said, it does take some time with the work I've done. And one of the things that really blew me away was how simple a lot of the alternative therapeutics that people were doing, how powerful they were becoming once they started wearing these technologies. You put X39, it makes everything you do work better, makes food work better, helps the digestion, total body energy is up, sleep is bettered, and so repair capacity is up. If you look at the white papers and you really do want to dive into the geeky stuff, a lot of the things that we look at as clinicians are stunningly apparent and right there, and the patch does it, which any pharmaceutical company would jump on in a moment and say, with even one of our results, and we have hundreds literally of parameters that have changed, but yeah, all vital functions get better. Certainly mental clarity is higher, right? So what do they do? You put it on for 12 hours. We suggest 12 hours on, 12 hours off. David has suggested that there's up to a 20-hour lifespan of the patch. So I always tell people you can leave it on longer than 12 hours, but make sure it's off for 12 hours because a lot of times people will forget, leave it on and whatnot. But that off component is where the body is learning, right?
Mm.
When the technology is on and the body is streamlined, and then all of a sudden it's got a momentum for 12 hours. And when you take the patch off, the body can continue, and that resculpting can happen. Because a lot of what we're doing, both biochemically and with physical tissues, is resculpting the patterns, right? Resculpting the inflammatory patterns, resculpting the physical patterns, resculpting the habits, the biomechanical. That's one of the things I noticed was my joints were actually stretching more. And I've had some major injuries. I actually had an elbow crush injury many years ago, and my arm has never really been straight. And I know it sounds insane, but my arm is getting straighter.
It's so exciting. And I'm so glad you talked about, the lifestyle that goes with it, because it's not just doing the patch and really, taking our health seriously by rest, hydration, exercise, movement, nutrition, all those things are important. And David talks about that all the time. So it's not just you can keep doing unhealthy things and expect the patch to change your life. So we have responsibility here. So let's see what kind of
Well, and
questions.
you know, the technology actually makes a lot of that stuff better because you
Yay.
can't force yourself to eat better, you know, and you can't force yourself to go to sleep, and you can't force yourself to want to exercise. But the great thing is these patch technologies, the phototherapy technologies actually fast forward and give us a competence, a metabolic competence, a physiologic competence in the moment so that we can start making those changes, right? And it's not dependent on bioavailability. A lot of what I do is dependent, just like when you go to the doc and they put a needle in your arm, it's got to make its way through the vascular, through the blood vessels to the target tissue. And a lot of times we're dealing with chronically inflamed target tissues that really aren't even capable of handling whatever that thing is. The cool thing about the phototherapy is it's like a light switch and it's boom, it's on. Not dependent on blood flow, not dependent on levels of inflammation, not dependent on how tired the tissue is. It's the enzyme that we're targeting is on.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. It helps everything work better and get our body to balance so that all those vital organs can operate more effectively. Okay, we have a few questions here, and Carolyn down under is, I love that you're with us, Carolyn from Australia. And she said, which patches would you recommend for someone who was told that their entire body had chronic inflammation?
Yeah. And realistically, anybody with any kind of a label, if a doc has put a label on you, that's a chronic inflammation, right? Almost everything that we have a name for is something that happened to the body that under normal circumstances, the body would have handled, that it couldn't in the moment. And so coming back to center, as we have pointed out, X39 is fantastic for that. Almost everybody who has that kind of a long-standing condition, whatever it is, also has a mobilization problem, right? So when we're talking about mobilization of resources to the target tissues, in the body, that's dependent on cholesterol and it's dependent on lipids, on fats. And when we talk about being ketogenic, it's a body that actually can deliver those repair lipids, and steroids and cholesterol is the king of carrying those lipids, right? So cholesterol's become a bad word. I say all that to say SP6 is one of my favorite patches. You've heard me talk about it before, and I'm going to keep talking about it because just go to the white paper. Actually, here's a good exercise. Anybody who's in the waiting room at the doc's office, take the 15 minutes to open up the website that I mentioned, look at the white paper, read all of the metabolic upregulator effects of SP6, which we market for blood sugar, but really it's about creating ketogenesis, and it's a hormone balance. The paper is stunning and the science is stunning, and who knows, you might even get up and walk out and not have to see the doctor. Yeah. So Eon is really great too, for total body. They're all good for total body, but a patch called Eon, AEON, and again, undermarketed. I think we market it for stress and anxiety, and it's fantastic for that. It's fantastic for brain health, mental clarity. It's really a entire nervous system. So anywhere there's neuromuscular connection, anywhere there's neural anything connection, right? Then you're talking about increasing the connectivity of the body. And the only thing in a chronic inflammatory state that really is the problem is the body didn't have enough space in the tissue and enough nutrient delivery to the tissue. And a lot of these technologies upregulate both of those.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what's so nice about the patches. They're totally safe. You can't hurt anything. You can move them around. You can trust your instincts too on them. So that's great. So let's see. We have Ken who's asking, using X39 for 2 weeks, but pain is not totally gone. It's from a 10 to an 8. Should I lose hope?
Should I use hope?
Should I lose hope?
Oh, you can. I don't think that'd be a fun thing to do. And no, we talk about 90 days. I don't know what the injury was in the first place, but a lot of times, it takes a bit. I mentioned my recovery, and I'm an athlete. I've had a lot of injuries over the years, and I just thought a lot of them were going to be there. And you learn to live in a certain way. I was stunned after about 6 weeks of X39. And actually, after about 2 of just X39, I started using the Eon patch as well. That's when I noticed my increased flexibility and some ache that I just thought was chronic that actually I don't even think about. That started disappearing. So definitely 2 weeks. That's enough time, for the body to have seen something, and it's certainly working. A lot of times with a chronic issue, we don't necessarily feel that it's working right away, but but there is a lot of stabilization. You can think of it as a buffer zone, right? So the body's ability to buffer is being raised, and also the body's ability to take out the trash is increasing. So the metabolic debris removal from those target tissues, sometimes it's a debris removal thing, and you keep doing that, and a little bit every day, and then all of a sudden there's a little flashover effect and people feel it, and then you wake up and you say, holy moly, how did that happen so fast? Well, it didn't happen so fast. It happened over 4 to 6 to 8 weeks of lifestyle change.
Oh, thank you for that. And it's really important because we live in this, instant world where we want to see things like this. And honestly, some people do. When they put a patch even near their body, they can feel changes happening. That's not true for everyone. We know it's always working, like you said, but you may not notice it, and give it time because it is cumulative also, which is really important. And I always like to ask people if they're not noticing anything, how's your hydration? Would you just briefly address that for people because it's so important on the effectiveness of the patches, hydration?
Oh, sure. Well, we're using the patches for the mechanics that I just mentioned, right? The biomechanics have to do with nutrient delivery and debris removal. And when that's balanced, then what I like to call the damage repair seesaw is balanced, right? We're constantly damaging ourselves. There's no way to get away from that. There's no way to get away from oxidation. There's no way to get away from free radical damage. And that's just a normal way of life. Can you handle that in the moment is a real good question. And the patches accelerate those processes, but none of that debris removal happens without the lymphatic flow and without the venous flow. Right from the capillary beds, all of the interstitial fluid and all of that ocean of junk has to get away. And if we're not hydrated, the vascular tree is like a balloon, right? So if we're chronically dehydrated, which means, yes, not enough water, but it also means not enough nutrients and the minerals, the trace metals and whatnot that are dissolved in the blood. The blood is not water. It's a serum has a ton of stuff in it. If you don't have that, and again, it comes from a widely varied diet and probably supplements. If you don't have that, then your balloon, which is the vascular tree, is kind of shrunk up. And then none of that stuff happens, right? The patch is still working. It's still, the tissue's still ready, but there's still a lot of debris to come out. Okay. So then you get rehydrated. And some people will see that actually, because we try to institute some lifestyle shifts along with the patch technologies. And there can be a little bit of a detox effect, right? And that's a very beautiful cleansing. That's just the body waking up and saying, okay, finally, I have the energy to release now.
Great. I love it. And that's the first question I ask if people aren't noticing. You might want to move the patches around too. Sometimes, placement can make a big difference in noticing, but it's typically hydration because like you said, Dr. Tom, the body needs hydration to get those toxins flowing out. And that's part of the healing journey. So let's see, we have Jim and Victoria that said, I have a customer who's concerned about nerve pain that plagues her. Will X39 address this concern?
Again, there's probably more going on than just the X39, but the answer is yes, she'll feel better. And then the work begins.
Okay, there you go. And then we'll finish up with Michael Olstead, and he says, can you wear a patch for 12 hours on one place of the body and then another 12 hours on another place if you need it?
No, The same patch, you don't want to put the same patch on in sequence. Like I said, it's a total body activation. So X39 on the just below C7 here for 12 hours. Don't put it under the belly button for the next 12 hours, right? You want it off your body for 12 hours. And all that said, the other technologies as well, the other patch technologies are parallel. So you can wear as many of them as you like, but for each of them, that rule is true: 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And you can wear them together, you can wear them sequentially, that sort of thing. But you don't want to wear the same one. Moving it to a different place of the body does not qualify as 12 hours off.
It's the same patch, the same frequency, and the same
Right.
exposure. So
Right.
you got to give your body a break from that signal. You could use, like you said, other patches. Okay, well, we are already past our time, and I just am so grateful. I'm going to turn things. Thank you, Dr. Tom. As always, it's just fun to learn from you all the time. And I'm going to turn things back to Gregory, because we want to thank everyone for attending this evening. And if you are interested in getting started, there's several ways. And Gregory, I'm going to go on mute.
We're in the same room, so we're getting a little echo here. I apologize about that. But certainly with LifeWave X39 stem cell patches, for as little as the cost of a cup of coffee a day, you can look, feel, perform, and heal and live younger. And so there's 3 ways to get started. Number 1 is become a retail customer. It's $149 for a 1-month supply of X39 patches. Or you can become a preferred customer, and there's a $19.95 membership fee, and then you pay the same wholesale price as distributors pay, $99.95 per month. So you save $50 or 33% off. It's automatically shipped to you each month. There's no long-term commitment required, and it comes with an unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee. And the third way is become a distributor and get paid for sharing. And unlike the good book, good restaurant, or good movie that many of us share with friends, we don't get an override. You can earn generous weekly personal and team rewards by sharing. We have various starter kits that are available that include a $25 enrollment fee. And all this also comes with our unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee. So I just want to invite everyone to contact the person who invited you on our Zoom here today and have them answer your questions and show you how you can get started turning back your biological clock and getting healthier with LifeWave. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody, and that officially brings our call to a close today. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.